Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 205. Um, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna start if I'm gonna start calling it Season 2, Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I'm gonna continue with the 205s, just so I don't forget, but we'll figure it out. So this episode, I will say I really did like this episode. So far, this has been one of my favorites. Um, just with everything that happens in this episode. So let's get into it. So we start the episode off with Nicole, and we see her at the house, and she is looking at cotillion pictures of Kat because she had just left. She was at Martin's house the day before. Earlier talking about the cotillion with Samantha and Tyrell and all of them. So she's back at home now and she's looking at reminiscing on her baby girl or whatever, and also thinking about, Kat um not wanting to take the test, and Kat being like, not present currently, because she's like in her like own thing because she's really scared or whatever. So Carlton comes over with a gift. He brings her a little stress ball or whatever. Just, because he knows she's stressed, waiting on, the results for the test and all of that. So they're talking, and she shows him pictures of Kat being at the cotillion, and they talk about Martin, being escorts for three different cotillions or whatever. And so they decide to have a movie night, and she's shocked that he's never told her before that, he liked horror movies and all this other stuff. And she spritz pickle juice on the popcorn, and they're, getting ready to start their movie night. And then she gets a call from Anita. So then we go home, we go to Danny, and she comes home because, she was at the country club and she had talked to Vernon and she had talked to Vanessa, and they was telling her, kick Bill to the curb. So she comes home to find Andre cooking, and he's cooking for her, just, relax, being there for his woman, relaxing her. She finds out he got this recipe from, what's that man's name? Joey's Instagram, because he got a cooking page apparently. So she was just like, I didn't, I told you this in fun. Like, I was talking about him. I didn't think that you like that it was really good. And she tries it, and she's just like, oh, so the mobster can't do everything. I was just like, I can't with Danny. Danny is a mess. So they, they're talking, and then, he's basically telling her, I want to ease your mind and just relax you or whatever. And they get nasty, they go to the room, get freaky and nasty because they just some horn dogs. But I love them so much. And he is being so attentive to her. And I just love this couple. They are so cute. I love it. So once they're done and they're eating, they're actually eating in bed or whatever, she gets a call from Vernon. So we go to Chelsea and Kat is on the phone with a designer that's that's like out of the overseas or whatever, and it's like early in the morning. They're the one who's overseas time, so that person is like getting real snippy and like short with her and hangs up on her once they've concluded their conversation. They just like hurry up and hang up because it's early in the morning. So Kat wants to talk about she wants to talk about business, but Chelsea wants to talk to her about what's going on with the family and the BRCA gene and all of that. And Kat is not here for it. Kat doesn't want to talk about it. She's just like, I'm gonna bury my head in the sand, and it is what it is. Like, if I find out that my mom has a gene, then I'm just gonna make sure that I always get tested, get early screenings, do my mammograms as whatever, but I'm not going to find out if I have the gene. And Chelsea is just like, she doesn't understand why she doesn't want to find out if she has a gene. That way she could, like stop, like she could not stop it, but she will know. And Kat's thing is, I don't need to know to still go and do my mammograms and check for everything that I need to check. I don't need to know that I have this gene just to do all those things. I'd rather just do those things than know that I have this ticking time bomb that could potentially make me have the big C. And it's like, I understand, again, I understand both. Like, I understand where Chelsea's coming from. I understand where Kat's coming from. Chelsea's thing is, you're my best friend. You're my ride or die. I do not want to lose you in any type of way. And if there's a way that we can find out that there's a possibility that you may have something that could take you away from me, we're going to find out. And that's Chelsea's thing. So they start to argue, and Chelsea says something about, what about Tomas? And Kat's just like, what, you think that he would leave me if I'm damaged goods? And here he comes. And child, but yeah. So he comes, and Chelsea was just like, talk some sense into her, and he leaves. And then Chelsea, I mean, no, not Chelsea, but Kat and Tomas start to talk, and she breaks down saying that she would rather just like, she wish her family would listen to her and basically just like let her handle it the way that she wants to handle it instead of trying to rush her. And like this scene right here, again, I don't like Tomas. I don't like her. I don't like him for my girl because he cheated on her with her sister, and I will not forget that. I will always be on his head top for that, and also for the fact that he talked down on her to her sister, her op. Yeah, I will never forgive him for that. And there's nothing that he can do that would make me want him for her, unless, yeah, and we all know what the unless is. But anyways, this scene right here made me cry when she's breaking down, and it's just like, I'm gonna just say it. They need to recast. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm sorry. I've been trying to be politically correct and not be that person, but they need to recast him, because the fact that she broke down that way, and his go-to facial expression, go-to everything was the same as his girl is breaking down in this moment. Like, she's literally acting against a wooden cardboard. And this scene would have hit so much more if she was acting against somebody who could show some emotions, because he don't show no emotions, and it's annoying. But this scene again, when she's crying, that it broke me, because I was just like, oh, my poor baby. Like, because I'm a Cat stan. I don't care what nobody say. That's my girl. And I felt so bad for her in this moment. So he's like, you know what, let's get out of here. Let's go and let's do some self-care or whatever. So she gets a call from Anita, and he was just like, oh no, you can go ahead and answer it. It's cool. And she was just like, no, well, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need to answer it or whatever. So, oh, sorry. So they go to Uptown, and he's talking to her, and he's like, telling her that he hopes that her and Chelsea can figure out what it is and come back together, because they don't need to be fighting, and they're sisters, and just all this other stuff. And as they're sitting there, her phone is going off, because she's getting phone calls, she's getting text messages, and she's ignoring it all, because she's just like, yeah, I'm just, I'm in my own world. And I'm not gonna hold you. Again, I am a Cat stan, but I will slap hands when they need to be slapped. And this was a moment where Cat hands needed to be slapped, because, ma'am, your grandma has the big C. And if she's calling you, you need to answer. You definitely don't need to ignore her call for Tomas, of all people. But you never know what could have been happening, and you decided to ignore your grandma's call. No, ma'am. I was so disappointed in Kat in this moment, because it was just like, girl, the fact that of all the grandkids, you are the only grandchild that has not seen her since you found out about this diagnosis, that don't sit right with me. I don't like it at all. And I'm gonna need them to rectify that because she needs to go and sit with her grandma because yeah, that's not cool. It's not at all. So we get to Martin and Smitty, and Martin had a meeting that was canceled. So he wants to take the family out, like, the kids and Smitty or whatever. But Smitty lets him know, I told because I thought she was in a meeting. So I told the kids that they can go hang with their friends or whatever. And Smitty was just like, so I see that you want to make things right with your son. And, Martin is telling him like he just doesn't understand how um Tyrell is just like he's turning into a mini Jessica basically, like he didn't understand it and all this other stuff. Uh, and Smitty, like, he talks to him and just like gives him some advice and gives him some reassurance. And it's like Tyrell is trying to become his own man, and he's gonna have to go through some bumps along the way. He's gonna get some different insight from different people, and he's just gonna have to figure out which one suits him basically. So they're as the parents, they're just gonna have to they're gonna have to figure out a way to be there for their child basically. So we see uh so yeah, so they're like, we see them again, and Smitty is coming back downstairs because he had to go take a meeting real quick. And so they are trying to get frisky, and Martin gets a call from Vernon. So we then see Naomi. We see Naomi with Ashley at the bar, and she's basically telling her what's been going on with her grand. And um, Ashley, she's telling her what's going on with her grand and how the family is holding up and everything. Ashley's asking her, how is everybody? She tells her, and then she's just like, well, how's Andre? Because, he lost his parents, and now he got a new wife, and there's a possibility that, he could lose his wife or whatever. Um, and Naomi is just like, you know what, I never thought about that. Maybe he's been my mom's rock, but I never thought to check on him, basically. And it was just like, well, yeah, you haven't, because you really don't see him um as your mom's husband. You just see him as whatever. And it's like he's done more for your mom than your dad has done in the last 20 decades of their marriage or whatever. But I guess so. She gets a call from Anita, and then now, while all that's going on, again, it's a soap opera, so we're going back and forth. So we see Vernon and Anita, and was this episode, or was this the episode before? I could be wrong. Oh yeah, so they're talking about sorry, I got them all running through my mind. So they're talking about her first day of chemo, and Anita's just like, yeah, you don't have to come. I'm gonna be okay. I don't need you to do this and this. And he's just like, what you talking about, woman? I'm gonna be there with you every step of the way. If that means that I'm gonna be sitting there while you sleeping so I can go to sleep, or I'm gonna be sitting there, we're gonna be talking, or if you just want to sit there and read a book, I'll read my own book, but I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. However many hours it takes for you to be in that chemo session, that's how many hours I'm gonna be with you. I'm not leaving your side, basically, is what he's saying. So he wants to know what Rowena is doing in the kitchen, because she's in there, she's using all the pots, and he wants to know what she up to. And she tells him, she's making a last supper. And he was just like, we not gonna call it that. It's not gonna be no final supper, no last supper. This is just a supper before chemo. Like, quit playing with me, woman. So He he says he talks to the chief of staff, because we then see him on the phone and he's talked to the chief of staff, and the chief of staff said that they're going to get their news tomorrow, which is the first day of her chemo. So she's like, she's happy and then she's sad because she's like, I they could get my girls could get the news before I go to chemo or after I go to chemo, and either way it goes, I'm going to be no good to them because it'll be, if it's before, it's going to be like, dang, I'm rushing to leave because I got to get here, and then if it's after, we don't know how the chemo is going to treat me, so we don't know if I'm going to be nauseous or all this other stuff, but I'm not going to be, no good to my girls, like, and I can't be their mom or whatever. And Vernon, it was just like, honey, they're grown. They don't need their mom. And she's just like, no matter how old my babies are, I will always they're gonna always need a mama. And it's just like, that's true. Yes, no matter how old you are, you will always need your mama. So she tells him, okay, she says, okay, I'll be right back. So, and he was just like, I'm gonna come. And she was just like, no, 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 I got this. So she leaves and she comes back and she has like all this stuff for Mardi Gras or whatever. And she tells him, she has all this stuff. She tells him what it is, and he was just like, "Well, what was up with the subterfuge? Why didn't you just tell me what it was?" And she was just like, "Because I didn't want you to tell me no." And he was just like, "No, I wouldn't do that." And he was just like, "You know what? Let me help you wrangle the family." So that's when they all start making the calls to everybody. So all the family starts to trickle in. We see Nicole come first, and she's just like, "Is everything okay? What's wrong?" And he was just like, "It's okay, it's okay." And then she was just like, "Okay, well, do I need to go help her?" And he was just like, "No, Anita Dupree makes an interest." And as he's saying that, we see Anita coming down the stairs, and then um Andre and Danny are walking in, and Danny was just like, "Mother," and she goes and gives her hugs, and she's whispering, and Anita was just like, "Wait, who knew that it would take cancer for you to use your inside voice?" I was just like, "Oh wow." And then Danny gets loud and she was just like, "I blame you for teaching me how to project." And I was just like, I love this scene. Cause yes, that was funny. That was funny. Cause it was just like, where did this voice come from, Danny? Cause I ain't never seen you talk lower than a 10 octave. Like you always on 10 and above. So this low octave that you had, and then Anita calling you out, I loved it. So um, so as Danny goes in, Andre's getting ready to go in, and then Anita stops him and she tells him, "Thank you for putting the light back in my daughter's eyes." And she thanks him, gives him a hug. He goes in. Then Chelsea, Martin, and Smitty come in, and they're all hugging, and they were just like, "What's good?" And she was just like, "Oh, we're going, I left a message for Kat. I know." She was just like, "Naomi's on her way. Jacob has a late shift, so does Madison. I left a message for Kat. Since she's not with you, that must mean she's with Tomas, and hopefully she can come or whatever." And again, we find out she doesn't come because she's ignoring everybody. Pissed about that. So Anita and Smitty go in, and then Chelsea stops Martin to tell him, "Yeah, she's not coming because we just had a fight. I think she's avoiding me." So they go in and they're all sitting around, and here come Naomi. "Graham, what's the news? Tell me if this is good or bad." And I was just like, "You heifer. Like, you are so rude. Like, first of all," and I'm still not off of her, the fact that you went and looked at that, opened that closed adoption. I ain't forget about that. I ain't forget about you thinking, telling Ashley not to call Andre when you find out that when she finally dumps Derek, and you don't say nothing to your mama knowing that your best friend wants her husband again. Yeah, I'm not off of you. And then you and your nosy sister gonna walk in on that family. I mean, on your grands, and eavesdrop on their conversation, and then push them to tell you what the situation is, even though they told you to take your tail home to your mama to find out what it was. I'm not off of you. So you coming into this house being all rude and just rude and classless, yell it, basically tell me what it is. Like, who are you, Naomi? I don't like her. I don't like her at all. Not one bit. I don't like her. Sorry. So, it just girl just irritates me. I'm sorry. So, Anita basically tells them, we love New Orleans. We had planned to go. Um, Nicole's just like, y'all are gonna go next year, and she was just like, love it. Basically saying, let's do a second line. Second lines aren't only for funerals, they're for celebrations, and we celebrating tonight. So they start doing a second line, and it was so cute. I loved it. It was so cute. She tells them that Rowena been in the kitchen cooking gumbo, go get some food, have fun. We got a king cake. We having a little mini Mardi Gras. I got the umbrellas, the hats, the handkerchiefs. We gonna have fun. So they, Vernon turns on the music and they dancing with the umbrellas and with the handkerchiefs, and it was just, oh, this was such a cute episode. So they all walk in and Anita stands back and she just observes, and it was just like, they better not let her go. Like, she cannot leave the show. Like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be so hurt because we don't know how long her contract is, and if she only signed on for so long. I hope not. I really hope not. So they come back, after they've eaten, and they come back and they're taking, everybody's talking. They're gonna take a what's it called? Ooh, what's her name? Not what's her name. I'm sorry. Yeah, Naomi. She talks to Andre. So she checks on him and see how he's doing, just to make sure, everything's okay with him. And again, it is not lost on me that you only checked on him because your best friend said something, because she still wants that man. Clearly. So yeah, so she checks on him, make sure everything's okay, and then she finds the baby and the king cake, and it was just like, so you found a baby, huh? The girl that don't want no baby finds a baby. Hmm. You know where that's going. So Anita gives her the crown and just basically telling her she's the queen, and she has to throw the party next year or whatever. So they give a toast. They give a toast. Anita makes another dig at Danny. She was getting her all episode. They make a toast, cheers to health, wealth, whatever, just a toast. So they ask Andre to take the picture. So they take their family picture. And before they take the picture, Naomi puts the crown back on Anita. And she's just like, how can I wear the crown when we're with the queen? And so they take the family picture, and that's how it ends. And of course, the family picture doesn't include Kat because Kat didn't come. Oh yeah, and then again, Naomi had called, not Naomi, Chelsea had texted Kat. Martin had called her and left her a message, and Nicole called and left her a message, and that's why her phone was blowing up when she was with Tomas or whatever. So yeah, that was the episode. This was a really cute episode. I really liked it. The second line was so cute. Um, Anita being Anita, cutting up on Danny. I just loved it. This whole episode was really good. Um, so far, none of the, like, not even since season 2 hit, but like once Anita found out what was going on, like, all the episodes have been hidden. Like, even the episodes that got Leslie and Eva in them, they've been hidden because they haven't really annoyed me. Like, normally. I mean, Leslie always annoys me, but Eva hasn't. It's again, I just want better for her. But other than that, like the episodes have been really good. But that was the episode. Let me know what you guys thought. Get down in the comments. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications. And I will see you guys in the next one.